Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 26th and tonight's movie is Malevolent. If They Look Like People had a remarkably good title, Malevolent is a remarkably bad title. It tells me no information about this movie. File it away with sinister and insidious with titles that would work for any horror movie ever made. But anyway, the movie itself is a 2018 film starring Ben Lloyd-Hughes and Florence Pugh in one of her earlier roles. This is a year before she really burst into the scene with Midsummer and Little Woman. This is part of a relatively specific but not uncommon horror movie category, which is people who fake the paranormal for a living encountering something actually paranormal. From the trailer, it looks like the actual owner of the place that they're quote-unquote investigating is onto them from the beginning. For some reason, reactions to this movie seem kind of polarized. I've heard some good things and some bad things about Malevolent. I'm going to give it a watch so I can tell you what I think about it. Okay, can't really provide a hot take. This movie was okay. It's like a 6. It's kind of like The Ritual, where the second half is a lot better than the first half, but The Ritual had lower lows and higher highs than Malevolent. I really think that the biggest issue with Malevolent is that it's just not all that creative. It's full of a lot of stuff that you'd have seen before if you watched a lot of horror movies. But there are some good things with Malevolent, namely the ending. The ending was a lot better than I was expecting. The two main characters are a brother and sister named Jackson and Angela. They're part of this grift where they pretend to rid houses of spirits by having them move on to the afterlife. It's a lot like that grift in Nightmare Alley. Jackson is like the face of the operation. He does a lot of direct dealing with the customers. Angela pretends to be a medium, and they got two other people helping out with tech. Jackson's girlfriend Beth and a friend named Elliot. Jackson and Angela's mom, who committed suicide by gouging her eyes out, was apparently a medium as well, so they sort of use that to add some legitimacy. It's kind of weird because Jackson keeps talking about how we need to put on a show and make it look good, but all that really happens is that Ange, which is what they call Angela in this movie, just sort of walks around. They play a couple recordings, she says some words, and then Jackson's like, alright, they've moved on, give me money. However, there's this one job they do, and it's not even the main one of the movie, where they're it's just literally like a mom's ghost in a house. And for some reason, Angela's actual medium abilities awaken. I don't know why that is, and they never explain it in the movie. But the fact that Ange can now, see ghosts and stuff kind of makes her want to stop doing this. But of course, standard horror proceedings. Jackson really needs the money, he's in debt, he's got loan sharks mad at him, and this new job is offering double the pay, and it's gonna be one last trick, and then they'll be done forever. She starts out by saying no, but then she has a nightmare where she sees her dead mom complete with the bloody empty eyes, and then the next morning she says, let's do it. I have no idea why that experience made her change her mind. If anything, I think that would reinforce it. So the beginning of the movie is pretty shaky, but once they actually get to the location, this old mansion where a bunch of little girls got murdered, things pick up a little. It's kind of hard to talk about right now, though, because anything I think that makes this movie good would require me going into spoilers. So let me just say, the movie starts out a certain way, and it's not a very good way, but it actually was sort of a fake out. It pivots into something else, which is a lot better. However, it does take a long time to sort of make that pivot. I think if you want a similar story to this that's engaging from start to finish, 1408 is a good example. However, there isn't really anything bad enough in the first half of Malevolent that they can't make up for it in the second half, and I think they did. It's a lot like The Ritual. You gotta get through the bad to get to the good, but The Ritual had a worse bad part and a much better good part than this one, so I guess pick which one you prefer. And I really want to stop speaking in vagaries, so I'm just gonna get to the spoiler part of the review. Given how these stories usually go, I thought it was going to end up being that these spirits are real, they're malicious, and they attack the team, and eventually they trap them and kill them or something like that. But instead they went a more Del Toro approach where, yes, the ghosts are scary, but they're not the real evil ones. The real evil ones are the people still living in the house. The current owner of the house, Mrs. Green, was an abusive mom and definitely favored her biological son, Herman, over all the little girls. And she either was okay with or straight up asked her biological son, Herman, to kill them all. She didn't call the paranormal people because she wanted the girls to find peace. She just wanted them out of the house because their cries were annoying to her. I guess I understand the evil logic to that, but what I don't understand is why they captured Beth and, like, sewed her mouth shut when they could have just sent everybody else on their way, none the wiser, since they didn't believe that they had any paranormal abilities at all at that point. And the team really wanted to leave too. Like, the final conflict of this movie, I don't think had to happen, but it did happen. Beth dies in a car accident, and Herman is able to capture Jackson and bring him back to the house. And they do to him what they did to the girls, cut out his tongue, break his teeth off, sew his mouth shut. Since I don't think they were ever planning on letting him leave, I don't know why they didn't just kill them. Like, again, a lot of the actions in this movie don't really make any sense. They capture Ange as well, and these villains continue their theme of making sense by going straight to stitching Ange's mouth closed. They didn't cut out her tongue or break her jaw. You might even think that they would want to keep them around to torture them like they did the girls, but Miss Green tells Herman to, like, take Jackson out to the shed and kill him anyway, so I don't understand why they're doing this. Anyway, Elliot saves the day by killing Herman. And with Angela's pleas, the ghosts of little girls are able to incapacitate Miss Green by screaming, and they use that as an opening to kill her. But I do want to talk about two things in the ending that I thought were done beautifully. Ange says that she's going to go get help since she's the only one who can, like, still walk at this point. And while she's walking down the road, she sees her brother, but his mouth isn't, like, stitched closed anymore. He's not all bloody. He looks completely normal. And he just says, "Hey, have you seen Beth? I can't find her anywhere." And that was a very dark, very subtle and powerful way to reveal the fact that he's dead. Because we didn't see Herman kill him. That reveal had so much more impact than it would have if they just found his dead body or something like that. And then the final shot of the movie is Ange on the phone with her only remaining relative, her grandpa, and he says, "I don't think we'll ever be able to leave you alone again." And then, like, a dark shadow comes over her face, like someone is standing right in front of her, but it's out of shot, we can't see who it is. And Ange just says, "I'm not gonna be alone." And again, a very subtle but effective way of showing the fact that she's going to have, like, the ghosts of her family members, like, not haunting her, but, like, being there with her sometimes. Two really well done dramatic moments at the very end of the movie. If there were more of those throughout the entire runtime, I'd be singing a completely different tune about Malevolent. However, when you look at the whole thing, Malevolent is just, like, okay. The story's okay, the horror's okay, the characters are okay. It's kind of just like a Del Toro plot, but without the Del Toro aesthetic. It wasn't bad, I just didn't think it was particularly good. It is a very 6 out of 10 kind of movie. Alright, thank you for listening, I'll see you tomorrow.